Doc Rivers has once again found a way to let this Sixers team down. Now, I know it is no secret at this point in time that the rosters are set in stone, the standings are set in stone, and we know the matchups for the playoffs, but we also know that Doc Rivers, if he had found a way to win just one more game at the conclusion of the season, that the Sixers would have a little extra time to sit home themselves. Instead, they now have to battle out of the play-in tournament, face the Miami Heat. Now, that isn't something that I'm overly concerned about. Got a video breaking down already, talking about how dangerous the Sixers team is and why the NBA should be more scared of them than they are. Also, we'll have a video dropping tomorrow speaking on why this Miami Heat team is not the Miami Heat team that we are accustomed to. Also, there was just the news that broke that Terry Rozier will not be suiting up or be available for this playing game. So the bottom line is I'm not concerned about this playing game. But it still would have been nice for the big fella, specifically Joel Embiid, to have an extra week to ramp up, get on the same page, make sure he's 100% healthy, and it was Doc Rivers that did not allow that to happen. Entering the final day of the season, that the Sixers did not control their own destiny. They needed a little bit of help. That they obviously needed to beat the Brooklyn Nets, which they took care of, and they also needed either the Hawks to beat the Pacers or the Bucks to beat the Magic. Neither of those did come to fruition there. And if you want me to be completely honest here, I think a great deal of the calculus in Doc Rivers' brain is he wanted no part of playing this Sixers team. And for good reason. Because this Sixers team would absolutely beat this Milwaukee Bucks team. At this point, I would argue with or without Joel Embiid. And they did receive some unfortunate news just recently that Giannis, his status looking particularly uncertain. Will was tweeting here that ESPN sources the Milwaukee Bucks are preparing to be without two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo for the start of the opening round series against the Indiana Pacers, but our hopeful treatment on his left calf strain will allow him to return sometime later in the series. Now, I'm very disappointed by this. For starters, because obviously you want teams at their best. I wanted the Sixers to face this Bucks team at their best in the second round. And frankly, I'm not even sure that they make it to that stage at this point. This Indiana Pacers team, they mean business, and there is bad blood. Don't forget the play-in tournament, the in-season tournament, where there was the little bit of a buzz in the air, the altercation there, and the Giannis career-high scoring game where he was chasing guys backstage, trying to track down that ball, getting in the face, pointing in Halliburton's grill. There's a lot of bad blood between these two teams. And the other reason why I'm really frustrated by this is you just handed Doc Rivers another excuse on a silver platter, and he just needs no help arriving to those conclusions. I mean, we're talking about the same Doc Rivers that had already blamed the travel staff this year when asked about the road struggles just a few weeks ago, saying, quote, "I've actually been sitting back and watching everything. Not just our players, but our travel crew, everything. We don't bring the necessary professionalism, seriousness on the road." This is the same Doc Rivers that has blamed everyone in the universe before looking himself in the mirror. And if we just want to call a spade, let's take a look at what the actual record are with Doc Rivers. That they were 30-13 when he took over this franchise and did not win 50 games. You know how hard it is to take over a team with a 30-13 record and did not find a way to get them to 50 wins on the season? But that's exactly what Doc Rivers did, as they went 17-19 with him at the helm. Now, this Bucks team is not perfect. It has flaws, absolutely, but it's a far more talented team than should be the case for that type of record. And the biggest reason that Doc Rivers was brought in was to improve their defense. Frankly, I don't think he deserves the immense credit for that. Yes, their defense got better, but it has not equated to team success. And honestly, I think Adrian Griffin has been dealt a bad hand from the get-go. That when you go from Drew Holiday to Damian Lillard, which was the big moving part, the significant deal that they did make this offseason, when you go from Drew Holiday to Damian Lillard, your defense is going to get significantly worse. It does not matter the schemes you put in, the players around it, that Dame Lillard is not a good defender, and Drew Holiday, even with him not being at what he once was, he's a fraction of what Dame Lillard is a fraction of the defender of what Drew Holiday is. So to me, this is a personnel thing that Griffin caught the blame for, but it also has me licking my chops and circling a potential second-round matchup with the Milwaukee Bucks. Looking at how things align now, obviously the Sixers playing the Heat in that playing game, assuming that they do get the victory, which I do expect to be the case, that will lead to the 7-game series against the New York Knicks. Now, my quick piece on the Knicks here, I respect the New York Knicks a whole lot more than I respect this Milwaukee Bucks team. That I do think Milwaukee is a team that's leaking oil. They are a little fraudulent. That they are a team that I think is going to absolutely collapse possibly as soon as that first round. The Knicks team are a team that they're gritty. They're tough. They'll play hard. They're never going to roll over. They don't have this loser energy being injected into the franchise from their head coach. But I still feel pretty good about the Sixers in that matchup. And we're going to have a little crossover breakdown with the Knicks, assuming that is the matchup. We'll have it with the Celtics Digest if that is how things shake out. I'm hopeful that that is not the case. But the bottom line is if this is the pathway, say the Sixers do face the Knicks and they are able to get past that, and the Bucks do find a way to win their first round matchup, then we are looking at a conference semifinals between the Sixers and the Bucks. And how poetic would it be if the way the Sixers finally get past this second round hurdle is by stepping over the guy that has made sure they have not got past it in years past? That it should, yes, there's other people to blame. Joel Embiid has not been his best. We've seen the shortcomings, the highs and lows of James Harden. We watched Ben Simmons pass up a dunk with the fearful Trae Young coming to block his shot there. But Doc Rivers deserves at least a portion of that responsibility. He's been outcoached. He's been stubborn in decision-making. This is the same Doc Rivers that played P.J. Tucker for a solid 30 minutes in each of those playoffs games last year. And I like P.J. Tucker. I don't want to rag on him. But the point still being that there were moments and times that I just think he did not win the coaching chess battle. And this is just more emphasis why I think things could be different this year with Nick Nurse, with a guy who has been proven to do it at the biggest stage, when the lights are brightest, a guy that I think in an every matchup basis, the Sixers will have the advantage. And when you talk about Doc and his playoff history, there's never been a coach to do less with more than Doc Rivers. That he's still coasting off that 2008 championship with that super team Boston Celtics loaded with Hall of Fame talent, and that's really it. And when you look past the track record beyond that, he has underperformed at every single other destination. He's one of the only head coaches in NBA history to be traded for a draft pick. That's how much that teams have wanted him out of there. And to look at his playoff history as a whole, it's pretty ridiculous stuff. An overall 16-33 record, Doc Rivers has also now blown 3 3-1 leads, 4 other 3-2 leads, 1 other 2-0 lead, and has lost Game 7 at home 4 separate times, 5 of them if you count the bubble. Overall, he is 6-10 in Game 7s, and probably my favorite part of this, it says, arguably the crazier of all these blown leads is the fact that he's conceded 3 3-1 leads. In the history of the NBA playoffs, a team has come back from a 3-1 series only 13 times. That means that about 23.1% of all 3-1 collapses in NBA history have happened under Doc Rivers' watch. Now, I know you can't blame it all on him. That the players play, the coaches coach, and Doc Rivers is not out there on the court deciding things. But there has to be a certain point where correlation does equal causation, where you look at the same guy that this is happening to year in and year out, and maybe there is some sort of something to that there has to be some sort of connection to. But again, I do want to bring this back to the Sixers and point it back to another driving force for optimism. When you ask me why is this Sixers team different, I point directly right at Nick Nurse. I point directly at the growth of Tyrese Maxey, of Joel Embiid. This is a different Sixers team, and they are ready for this moment. They do have a coach that has them prepared in a way where other coaches have not. In other seasons where they did look not ready to rise up to the moment, I just don't expect that to be the case. We just gave Nick Nurse plenty of time to game plan. As I mentioned, the Heat going to be without Terry Rozier, which is a big deal. So I'm excited about what this can turn into for the Sixers team. I am far more optimistic than I think a lot of you, and I would love nothing more than for the Sixers to get past that second round hurdle with Doc Rivers being the guy they're stepping over. I want the Allen Iverson crossover meme with Doc Rivers being Ty Lue on the ground. I want to see Nick Nurse as the AI in the face there. I'll be blasting those out if that is the case. Still a lot of steps to get there, but I am just appreciative that Doc Rivers is now working in the Sixers' favor, not against him, by being on another franchise. So we'll see where things happen from here. It is unfortunate that Doc Rivers did let the team down once again by not giving his team a little extra rest, but maybe I can squint at it now that it's been a couple days, talk myself into, it's better that they can pick up this momentum from winning the playing game and carry that into the postseason. We'll see how things shake out from here. I'm disappointed that this game is tipping off on Wednesday and not tonight as this video comes out, as I want nothing more than to sit down and watch this Sixers team right now, but appreciate each and every one of you for tuning into this video. Please make sure that you are smashing that subscribe button, helping the Sixers Digest family grow. We'll be back here with myself and Cliff coming on soon. Make sure you're hitting that like button, dropping your comments. I'll be talking with you next time right here on Sixers Digest. Peace.